Hello, my name is Ryan. Welcome to TheGamers OfSerenity. Today, I'm here to talk about the Onision and Kai situation. For those of you who do not want to hear about this, who don't care about my opinion, have fun. You can leave, you can go watch whatever, don't really care. But for those of you that want to listen, appreciate it. So let's get started. So if you don't know, we got Onision and Kai, who are allegedly accused of grooming this young girl named Sarah. And also not only that, but Onision has been also accused of doing some pretty shitty actions. But the unfortunate part about Greg Onision is that everything that he did falls within the law. So I'm going to be focusing on a little bit more of Kai in this video because Kai is the one that can go to jail. As of right now, to the public knowledge, Kai is the only one that can go to jail in this situation because allegedly there were some pictures exchanged between Kai and Sarah and this woman named Regina. And apparently all three of them were exchanging nude photos with each other. And Regina and Sarah were like 15, 16 at the time. And Kai was an adult of 19 years old. And according to Chris Hansen, because I've been following Chris Hansen's stuff, and I'm very happy that Chris Hansen is on his ass, right? Because a lot of what is being said has a lot, like the illegal activity that we know of that is 100% illegal is on the part of Kai. Now Kai is apparently freaking the fuck out, right? And she is completely off of social media. There you go. I just called her a she. My bad. I mean, I'm not going to really apologize for misgendering her, but it's really hard for me to call Kai a he, so please just bear with me. Kai is a female to male transgendered person. Honestly, I have no respect for Kai, so I feel no need to call her by her preferred gender. It's a polite thing to do. It's a politically correct thing to do, but it's very hard for me to do it. So you're going to see me slip up on that a lot. I'll try my best, but if you hear me call Kai he, she, there we go. So I'll try. It feels weird not to try, but sometimes I'm going to say she, sometimes I'm going to say he, so bear with me. All right. So like I said, in the case of Greg Onision, he doesn't have a whole lot illegal activity under his belt. He was very careful all the time. I'm not sure if Greg has any underage video or photos in an inappropriate manner. I highly doubt it. In like a nude manner, I should say. Because that whole forums thing, right? Like there's some girls clearly underage, right? Just, bearing it all, showing off them in their underwear, right? That's not cool. But the truth is that Greg will not go to jail. I am convinced he will not go to jail. I am convinced if Regina and Sarah come out about this issue and report it to the police, which they've said that they're going to try. Both of them said it, especially Regina. Regina really was just like, yes, 100%, I'm going to go to the police and I'm going to give them what evidence I believe I have. And as long as she can prove that she was 16 at the time, then there's no question about it that Kai can either get fined like a motherfucker or he's just going to go to jail. Like, it's simple as that. And according to Chris Hansen, it's like 10 years per picture. So, but I can't remember what Kai's father is into. I think Kai's father is like a lawyer or a police officer. I can't remember. If he's a lawyer, Kai might get a lower sentence, but I don't know. Lawyers can, get their way around stuff anyways, right? Like, lawyers can get around anything as long as they're smart about it, right? Like, as long as there's certain things that go in their favor. I even, like, for example, I once called a a rape hotline, uh, where apparently they're stationed in Vancouver and I'm in BC as well. And I talked to this lady. Now, to clarify, the reason why I called, I nothing happened to me. I can honestly say that. It was on behalf of a friend. I just wanted to get a little bit more information because unfortunately a friend of mine had something very horrible done to them. Um but yeah, I was in a very bad state of mind when I was first told about my friend, and it was very very hard for me to digest as soon as I found out about this. So the first thing I was just like, I just wanted to call them and get some information about like what the legal steps would be to pursuing something like that, if my friend wanted to do that. And they told me, this very lovely lady, I don't know what her name is, but I think that's the point of it. This very lovely lady told me that some lawyers, and she has met and even seen lawyers, weasel their way around their client doing some illegal activities. So, as long as Kai doesn't have a very good lawyer, and the evidence is just undyingly like irrefutable, then Kai, there's a good chance Kai is gonna go to jail. Like I am convinced Kai will go to jail if Regina really goes and presents all this evidence and proves that she was underage at the time. And I'm pretty sure all you got to do for that is just present your ID and just say, like, look at the timestamps of when this photo was sent. Look at my current ID that I'm currently this age, and back then I was this age, right? So hopefully that evidence alone right there will be able to do something to Kai, because I do believe with all of the bad actions that these two have made, that is well deserved, you know. Look, I'm bleeding. And on Greg's part of this whole thing, I think that he will I think if one of them goes to jail, I think that's just going to ruin like them, right? I think if Kai goes to jail, Greg is going to freak the fuck out and probably just get off the internet forever. Like, that's what I predict. And if he continues to stay on the internet, because if he really believes that he has a lasting career on the internet, he is sadly mistaken. So, because he is on his way out, like I give him another like 5 years at most, and that's at most. And to have a viable income off of this. So, according to Sarah, like his only income is off of Patreon, and he barely gets anything from YouTube anymore. Like no brands are gonna work with him, right? Like who would? So because of all these accusations surrounding him, like look what happened to Shane Dawson when someone accused him of being a pedophile. Fucking no one wanted to work with him. He had sponsorships pulling out, like all that shit. But this time, all of these accusations are pretty fucking accurate. Other than the sad part is that Greg, in the legal sense and by definition, unfortunately, is not a pedophile. Because there's a thing called age of consent, where in the States, he went to a state to sleep with his girlfriend who was 17. And the age of consent was 17 in that state, right? In the States, the age of consent is a little bit more strict than like in a place like the UK or Canada. Because in Canada, the age of consent here in BC especially is 16. And then the age of consent in some parts of the United Kingdom is 15, 16, at most 17. And I don't know, and in Canada it's pretty universal that it's 16 here. I'm not sure if it's a little bit different in some states, in some provinces, but he by law, the guy's not a pedophile. And he didn't, and to our knowledge, he hasn't done anything, right? There's no incriminating evidence that he broke the law in any way. There really isn't, and no one can really argue that, which is the sad part. But Kai is the one that broke the law, and Kai will hopefully get what's coming to her. Her. I don't know. So, yeah, that's what people need to recognize, And yeah, so to be completely honest about the situation, I think Kai's in more jeopardy of going to jail than Greg ever will be. And it's kind of a weird feeling, right? Like, what happens within the next 6 months to a year, right? Like, is Regina actually going to move forward with this? Like, because you got to understand about this situation, about victims. Victims, for some reason, just have a really good heart, and I have met one, and I've met a few where they're like, I'm like, I'll ask the question, why don't you want to do anything? And then they're like, because I just don't want to fuck up his life that bad. And I'm like, but this person did something very illegal and very bad to you. Why don't you report them? It's like, I don't want to ruin their life. They have a family. And my response to that is, well, when they did this to you, they gave up their rights to have a family and be free. And I personally believe that action should be taken in for the most part. But on the other hand, playing devil's avocados for a second, I do understand that, like, this bad thing happens to you, you just want to hold it in, you want to forget about it, and I get that. It's not the easiest thing in the world to go to a stranger, especially a law enforcement person, and like be like, okay, this is what happened to me, here's every little fucking detail about what happened to me. That's not easy. It's not easy to say things like that, especially to strangers. And I think that I'm fearful that Regina is gonna second guess herself, because fucking Chris Hansen mentioned like what the federal law about the child pornography deal there. Like, if you were caught with child pornography, apparently, this is how strict it is. It is, if you were caught with if you're caught asking or sending photos to minors, it is 10 years in prison per photo. If it's a video, 10 years in prison per frame. Now understand, most digital videos run at 30 frames per second. That's 30 years right there, bro. So that's pretty intense. So yeah, so I think Regina, if you ever come across this podcast, I urge you to present whatever evidence you have. Hopefully you have it to the authorities, because it is time that Greg and Kai, but especially Greg, gets a fucking wake-up call for his actions. I'm not saying what Greg's actions are right. I'm saying that they're not illegal. That's all I'm saying. I don't agree with any of it. Like, for example, I listened to the Shiloh interview on Chris Hansen, and I believe most things that she says. Okay, there's some things that my personal beliefs, I cannot get past, like the seizure thing of the video called Shiloh Forgot Me, and what else? My girlfriend says my name in her sleep video, which I just rewatched. I rewatched the one where she's like smiling with Greg and shit. I believe that those are fake. I believe that both of those people, Greg and Shiloh, faked those videos. Like, and Greg said that they faked them. I do believe that. It's very hard for me to believe because of just like the way she was, moving and the way she was acting. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that's real. unless evidence can be proven otherwise. That's the one thing I just don't believe Shiloh on. I do believe everything else Shiloh said about Greg. I do believe that Greg did make her sleep with him like 8 times a day. And the sad part is it was all consensual. And, and she was a consenting adult. So that was all legal. Is it right? No. Is it healthy? No. Is it legal? Unfortunately, yes, it is. It's weird. It's weird how that works, but it's just how it works, man. Like he's borderline. He's on the very edge of the law, where he's just on the good side of it, where like nothing can happen to him over this stuff. But once again, Kai is fucking fucked if Regina or Sarah presents her evidence. And they said that they will. So we're about to find out, because this can go from 0 to 100 really fast. Right now, everything is all talk. At this point, everyone knows what those two did, but at this point, now time for talking is now over. I am not coming to you as on this bandwagon against Onision. I am coming to you as a person who's been following this trend of making these videos about this situation to a T. And this is a lot bigger than a YouTube trend. This is a lot bigger than just being a hater. This has affected people. People are treating people like dirt. Okay? And this stemmed from all the way from Shiloh and a little bit of Sky all the way to fucking Billy and now Sarah. You know what I mean? Because you got to understand though, like that Billy situation, no one's talking about that because Billy at the time was 19. Billy was never underage in that situation at all. She was 18, 19 years old when she met those two. And honestly, I have no idea how the hell this dude convinces these chicks to sleep with him. I guess it's because of Kai. Kai has probably a lot to do with it because it makes them want to test the waters with him. And I think for the Billy situation, I think Billy just made a mistake in being in contact with those two and falling in love and all that bullshit. So, yeah. Do I believe Onision's a good person? No, I never will. Never again. I think he takes advantage of people's emotions, and I think he makes people be vulnerable, in order to get what he wants. And I think he has a bit of a sex problem. I think he likes sex a little too much. And believe me, I'll get real with you guys. I like sex. Like I'm a guy, and never would I ever want to have sex 8 times a day. It sounds fun, but by the end of it, you're done. Like both of you are just gonna be done. And what a waste of a day, because I much rather invest my time into other things than just having sex. So yeah, so he likes sex on an unhealthy level. So yeah, that's pretty rough stuff. So I think that is about it about the Onision situation. So final thoughts on that. Good chance Kai's going to go to jail, and I think it's going to be a huge wake-up call for Greg. I don't know how he's going to really fare if Kai goes to jail like that, goes to prison. Or because it's possible. It really is possible. It's just all up to Sarah and Regina. So there you go. Now we have 11 minutes to talk about something else. I want to talk about something that's a little bit irrelevant now. If you guys want to click off of the podcast, I completely understand. That Onision thing is whatever, but I will mention this. I would like to talk about the KSI versus Logan Paul 2 fight. I am so mad at that. Okay, so this is what I believe about that fight. I believe Logan won. I believe Logan won wholeheartedly, and it's not because I'm a huge fan of him. It's because I know fighting. Okay, I've been watching MMA for years now. I've been watching the first fight I ever watched. This is how long ago it was Jake Shields versus George St. Pierre. That's how long I've been watching fights for. I watched that live. That was the very first UFC fight I ever watched live. And as an adult, I became such a huge fan of the sport. And now I have my favorite fighters. I try my best to watch almost every UFC. Of course, I'm not watching this Covington one. I will get to kind of watch it because of where I work, because they show it at my work. Um, but I'm not gonna book that one off. I'm gonna wait for the real good ones, like if like McGregor were to come back, or if who else, or Amanda. Oh, like oh yeah, Amanda Nunes is fighting on that card. Shit. Oh well, I'm gonna have to. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to bear with that one because, but she's not the main event, so it's like, it's all right. And but let's get back to Logan Paul versus KSI. I think in the first fight, I think Logan should have won. I think Logan, those first 2 rounds should have been 10-8 rounds, but in the sport of boxing, a 10-8 round constitutes a knockdown. So I think Logan got 2 10-9 rounds, and then I think KSI, and then I think there was like one round that was a little hard to judge. I think it might have been the third or fourth round because Logan started getting tired, you know? And also, like, in the first fight, Logan lit up KSI. Like, he really did light him up. Like, he was letting his hands go. And I think that's what Logan needed to do in this fight because the punches would land harder, right? Like, they would land so much harder in this fight. And I think Logan, I don't know what happened. I think he just maybe got a little bit psyched out. And also, like, he was just throwing super wild, and Logan had very good footwork and very good head movement for the most part. He did get touched up that one time when he got knocked down. I'm not really sure if that was a legit knockdown because if you watch Logan get back up, he was perfectly fine. He was not rocked. He didn't show any signs of being rocked. And then KSI got caught with that uppercut, and then Logan, unfortunately, I do believe Logan should have had the rules in mind a little bit more in boxing because, he did the uppercut, got him once, got him again, and then just put him down, And unfortunately, I kind of think I know why the referee took 2 points away. I think it was because for 2 reasons, because he fouled twice in one moment. I think that's why it happened. I don't think it should have happened because I think it should have been a warning and then a 1-point deduction. But for some reason, it was no warning and 2 points deduction, so which kind of sucks. Where it was like, yeah, so like he caught him with the uppercut. KSI was on stanky legs, right? Fucked him right up. And Logan kind of touched him in the back of the head, and I think that was just a big old no-no. So it was double uppercut. So the second uppercut was illegal, and then when Logan kind of slapped him in the back of the head with his gloved hand. So yeah, so that's what happened with that. What else is happening? And I think Logan, it should have been a draw or Logan should have won. I think that's what it should have happened. I don't really see how KSI won. He never really hit Logan too hard. Like if you look on this one, Logan never really had black eyes or anything. Like I barely think he was even swelled up a little bit. I think he just was a little bit red in the face from like running around a little bit. Maybe he got punched a little bit, but yeah, I think Logan should have won. But it was all right. I mean, Logan, he can take a loss in a boxing match any day, especially after the Japan thing. So more power to him. He was in high spirits afterwards. Jake Paul was a lot more upset about the decision, but I do agree with Jake Paul. I think Logan in the 5th and 6th round, I think he should have definitely let his hands go a little bit more. If he would have kept sticking to, even if he just did 1-2, like a jab, right? Jab cross, whatever. And he just found his moments, and trust me, there was moments where he could have done it. I think he would put KSI away. I really do. I think if he went ba a bunch of times, like it would have been over for KSI, and he would have won regardless of his fouls. Because the thing is that when KSI got hit with those uppercuts, he was still fucked, But that's boxing. That's the rules of boxing. You gotta fight fair in order to win. In order to win by points. So, yeah. So, hopefully, next time, Logan knows if he ever wants to fight again. And now, okay. And now he's talking about maybe fighting Dylan Dennis. And for those of you who don't know, Dylan Dennis is Conor McGregor's jiu-jitsu coach. So do you know how easy it would be for Dylan Dennis to be like, hey, John Kavanaugh, Conor McGregor, can you please study this guy's striking movements, and can we learn how to beat him in boxing? Guaranteed they will. Conor McGregor is such an intelligent striker, and so is John Kavanaugh. Like, bro, Logan, do not fight that guy. He's a professional fighter. Fuck you. I don't care if his main thing is jiu-jitsu. He knows how to step up to the plate. He knows how to fuck you up. I guarantee you, Logan is gonna have a real hard time if he fights with Dylan Dennis. And if he wins, that's gonna be the biggest W he ever takes in a long time. Like, dude, holy ass. But if he fights, if Logan does a trilogy with KSI, I hope he just does what he's supposed to do and just let his hands go a little bit more, and look for uppercuts if KSI is gonna go wild again, right? I really do. I think that's what he needs to do, because in the first fight, like, honestly, Logan should have won the first fight. He should have won the second fight. That's just because, and for some reason in this one, I guess he just doesn't want to. He just doesn't have it in him to just, Well, I think it's like, I think when he hit him with the uppercut, he's just like, holy fuck, I hit him, and then he's just like, okay, put him down, and then tries to put him down again, and then after that, he kind of like hit him, right, and then the referee got in the way, and then I think after that, it kind of freaked him out, like, oh fuck, man, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I can't finish this guy. So that's what I would do. I would just, I would try and throw that uppercut again, but make sure I just back off next time if I were him. So yeah, and I think I'm not sure if I'm going to take classes, but I think I might actually learn how to box, or learn how to strike, at least, like maybe MMA striking. I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be a nice tool to have on me every day, for in case some asshole wants to get in my face about something. So, and then I won't have to back down. So there you go. So yeah, we're 2 minutes away from being done our podcast. I think it was a good one. I am gonna definitely put this under the adult category in within YouTube's new system here. And that's another thing. I just got the notification for the new YouTube system about issuing your content to be child friendly or adult friendly. But for this one, it's gonna be adult friendly, because we definitely discussed some more dark and serious topics in this podcast. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a tutorial for Trials Rising. You'll be seeing that within the next few days. Hopefully it helps you guys out, even though the game's kind of like 7 months old. And yeah, and I'm gonna attempt to get more achievements and talk about how I did said achievement. So yeah, I'm actually getting a lot better in Trials. So thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and edit this now. 29-minute podcast, it's all right. And I will upload this straight away for you, so you guys know. I'm going to test this whole YouTube thing, so if some of you can't watch it, that want to watch it, because I set it to adults only, I do apologize for that one. And all right, thank you all for watching. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.